Welcome to another in my series of videos where I find hidden details from the footage released for the upcoming ATLUS JPRG Metaphor. This past week, an avalanche of new footage and details were released. Far too much to cover here. There's a new trailer, a live stream that explains how archetypes work, and lots of uncut gameplay footage from the playable demo. If you haven't seen them, I highly recommend you go check them out. I put links to them in the description. As usual, this video will only cover the more obscure details that were shown but not explicitly mentioned. I'll also be giving a translated overview of the story events from the demo. Please note, that portion of this video will likely contain a few spoilers for the early game, so I'll warn you again when we get there. Before that, let's begin with a few corrections. In my last video, I suggested that archetype repertoire might be an indication of how skilled a character is using a particular archetype. However, Cloudbringer in the comments accurately pointed out that it's much more likely a percentage of the total number of archetypes unlocked, much like the compendium completion in the Persona games. It's now confirmed that the proper way to pronounce the title of this game is indeed Metaphor ReFantazio. Up until now, I've been saying Fantazo, because that's how I learned how to say this Esperanto word from this example on Wiktionary.org.
Fantazio.
However, the most recent live stream has demonstrated that the developers of the game pronounce it Fantasio.
I'm Katsura Hashino, the director of Metaphor ReFantazio.
However, a pronunciation I didn't expect was Academia. Up until now, I've been saying Academia, but the latest live stream pronounces it as such.
The protagonist gains access to a mysterious location called Academia.
Lastly, Forcrez3762 in the comments pointed out that the names of the week I discussed in my last video, Flames Day, Waters Day, Metals Day, etc., aren't just an invention for this game. They are actually quite similar to the names of the week as they appear in Japanese, which follows a similar pattern of fire, water, tree, gold, and so forth. However, I am happy to see that my guess about the Uchronian calendar only having 5 days of the week turned out to be true. While there weren't any new characters shown in this month's media, a lot of new details, including a few names, were revealed. First up, there's the other resident of Academia, Moore's Bengal cat. We learn a bit about him in this cutscene from the livestream, and that his name is Plateau. The scene goes like this. The protagonist pets him and says, "That's right, who's a good kitty?" To which Gallica asks, "Don't usually see this kind of cat in the city, huh?" Moore says, "Cute, isn't he? I named him Plateau. He's the only solace I have as I'm confined here." It's interesting that Moore says he's confined to Academia. The only other thing we learn about Academia from this footage is that it's indeed a place separate from the real world, and that the traveling boy appears to go there by reading the novel. Back to the cutscene, the traveling boy then thinks, "Looks like Plateau wants to give me something," and he receives some hero's incense. Moore responds with, "Oh, looks like he's taken a shine to you. That's a valuable item, so hold on to it." I also noticed in this sequence that Plateau can appear in the open field with this cat icon above him. However, the player doesn't interact with him, so I'm not sure what this will do. Some new details about the Roag party member first seen in the second trailer has been revealed. First, I spotted him in this anime cutscene. The new trailer also shows a bit more of the sequence where he appears to strike down Hulkenberg. But most interestingly, I've determined what his name is. It's Grius. In this gameplay footage, you can see him with some of the party, about to take on a human, and his name is clearly shown. Furthermore, in the playable demo, it's revealed that the traveling boy and Gallica have joined up with the volunteer army in order to locate Grius, because he may have some important information regarding the prince's curse. Then there's Katharina. Footage shown during the GameSpot summer livestream revealed that the party will first run into her early in the game during the quest to defeat the Necromancer's assault on the Regolith Grand Cathedral. She's standing just after the door you enter and immediately gives you a side quest to complete. I find it interesting that character interactions like this, including the ability to receive side quests, can occur inside dungeons. We've now got confirmation that the Parapus man from the first trailer is indeed named Basilio, like I predicted. But we now also know the name of his companion. He's named Fidelio. During the sequence from the demo, both are seen traveling with the party on the Gauntlet Runner when it's ambushed at sea by Homo Sabara. The way the characters talk seems to indicate that they are simply traveling with the party as a sort of escort, and not full-on party members.
We've got the arms. We'll clear them out of the way.
Got it. If we don't kill the thing, we're all sunk.
Don't get used to it.
Lastly, there's a bit of new footage showing the party member Juna. She's seen riding in the Gauntlet Runner with the party, as well as exploring dungeons and participating in battles. This is what she looks like when she's in the party formation. It appears her initial archetype is called the Masked Dancer, insinuating that her character is a creative performer. Also, on the Gauntlet Runner's bookshelf, the traveling boy finds a book filled with somewhat unusual poems she's written, and that when read, grants you some courage. Some new locations can be seen for the first time in this month's footage. First up, we can see here on the map the large coastal city of Port Brilehaven. Its description says, "The capital of the Principality of Oceania, a flourishing trade port known for its liberal, free-spirited atmosphere, home to an ocean breeze and infrequent tempests." We also see this brief shot of what an area inside the city looks like. There are also various dungeon locations revealed for the first time, such as the lush green Gracia Forest, some disgraced ruins, the Tower of Insolence, the entrance to the Tomb of Lament, the giant sandworm's belly. Also, notice this area includes a time limit as part of the mission that's taking place, and the snow-covered Everfrost Forest. The majority of the new information this month centered mostly around how the archetypes worked and how they're used in combat. However, hidden within the broader strokes were some subtle details. For example, the thief archetype can steal more than just money. In this moment, you can see it actually acquiring a new weapon. An interesting aspect of the merchant archetype is that it has skills that actually cost money to perform, rather than the normal HP or MP like the other skills in the game. In a previous video, I showed this status effect that looks like the painting Scream. It turns out this effect is called Anxiety. I'm not entirely sure how it works, but the game states that, quote, "Anxiety begins to well up within," and Gallica says, "Straw's anxiety is spiking, keep the enemies off him." If I'd have to guess, it's probably similar to the fear ailment that causes your party members to flee. After winning a battle and leveling up, you get to decide how to distribute the newly acquired points into the protagonist's stats. However, the other party members will have their stats increased automatically. Like in Persona 5, the dungeons do contain various interactive elements and puzzles. Here we see the protagonist activating a lever, lowering the water in the area and allowing them to progress forward. Lastly, unlike in the Persona games, if the protagonist falls in battle, it is not an immediate game over. Instead, you can continue to battle using the other party members. You can see here that even though the traveling boy has died, the combat continues and the player is free to resurrect him just like any other party member. Gamers and media outlets attending events like Summer Games Fest and the 35th ATLUS FES in Japan had an opportunity to play the trial demo of this game. In the trial, there are 3 modes: Scenario, Dungeon, and Boss Challenge. However, in this section, I'll be giving an overview of what happens during the first section, the scenario portion, because it contained the most amount of dialogue and plot. Please note that some of the details in this portion of my video will contain spoilers for the early game, so feel free to skip this chapter if you don't want to be spoiled. Also, I want to be clear, I wasn't able to find an uncut version of the English dialogue. I could only find portions of the official English translation. So, some of the dialogue I present here will be the actual English, while the rest will be my attempt at translating it. I feel pretty confident it's correct, but there might be some slight differences in the final game. With all that out of the way, let's begin. The scenario starts with the traveling boy and Gallica getting ready for bed at an encampment for the soldiers who are heading to the northern border fort the following day. At this point in the game, the two have joined the volunteer army because they are looking for someone. It's not their intention to actually fight at the fort. They are simply using this opportunity to infiltrate the army in order to find their contact, who will likely be there. It begins with Gallica saying, "A considerable number have gathered. There must have been a shortage of soldiers." "Oh right, I know you don't know what our contact looks like yet, but he'll know you by your sword. He'll also know right away why we've come. And don't worry, I'll recognize him. Well then, let's get some rest for tomorrow." "Hey, you awake?" The boy's choices are, "Yeah," "Nope, I'm sleeping," and "Morning already?" He says, "Nope, I'm asleep, good night." Gallica groans, "Haha, very funny. Look, I just have a lot on my mind. Can't seem to fall asleep. I'd heard about what it's like in the capital, but still, when you hear and see all this prejudice out in the open, it's a lot. You okay?" The responses are, "It never gets easier, and that's just how it is." He says, "It never gets easier." "I know, right? Don't worry too much about it, though. Some people are saying the monster fiasco was caused by the unholy races. Well, they're the ones who burned down the eldest settlements in the past." The boy's choices are, "That was a long time ago," or "I don't want to remember." He says, "That was a long time ago." That may be true, but the prince was the only one who treated everyone with kindness. I want to repay that kindness. Oh, is that the book you're always reading? The one the prince gave you? Can I see it? The choices are, "Okay, okay," or "Let's do it tomorrow," or "Book?" He says, "I don't mind, but I've been wondering about that." "Thank you." She opens the book. "Are you sure it's a fantasy novel? It's a rare book about a fantasy world that doesn't really exist. It sounds like a story the prince would love." "Well, it says here that a young traveler was amazed by the world he saw." Gallica begins to quote the novel, and it says, "In that world, there was only one race. Everyone respected each other, and there was no discrimination based on birth." She quips, "One more thing, there aren't any fairies like me. At least there's no trouble between the races." She continues to quote the book. "They don't need magic. They build huge cities by learning and manual labor alone. A tower of glass piercing the heavens. A safe night without darkness. Cars coming and going. And in their laws, which have been made full, it is written that the lives of the people are equal." Wow, I see. No magic, no race wars, and life is equal? It sounds like a dream. I'm a little envious. She looks over and notices that he's fallen asleep. "Are you asleep? It's hard for me to turn the pages by myself." Well, that's all for today. Good night." The scene changes to the next early morning, and an anime cutscene shows the caravan of soldiers on their way to the northern border fort. The traveling boy looks quietly at the novel, and you can see Straw sitting nearby, secretly eyeing him. Once they arrive, Gallica says, "Hey, I have a bad feeling about this." It's hard to explain, but it's like there's a stench in the air, and it's getting stronger. Straw comes running up. "Hey, did something happen?" "Wait, is that a fairy? Did you catch it yourself?" The boy can say, "Yes, just over there," or "She's with me," or "I don't see a fairy." He says, "She's with me." "Yes, and I have a name, by the way. It's Gallica." "So, you travel together? You've stayed well hidden for quite a while." I didn't want anyone making a fuss, but we've got bigger problems now. I can't shake this feeling. We gotta be careful. Agreed. I'll follow my orders, but I'm not about to let this armchair general send me to my death. Let's take a moment, and then head in once we're prepared. Traveling boy, I assume you know how to use an igniter properly? I'm not so sure. He's never used one before. I mean, he's a commoner, so not much chance to. Fair enough. Well, just stay behind me and you'll be all right. I swear I won't let you die. A dialogue appears that says, "New ally, Straw. Straw, a brave fighter trying to conceal his nobility, has become your ally." Gallica whispers, "This is bad. I didn't think you'd really have to fight anyone." "I just hope our contact in the fort is okay. Let's keep our guard up and hope we find out." Well, this is an unexpected turn of events, but don't lose sight of our mission, okay? Be careful. Our contact should be inside, and we just have to find him. Oh, you're running with such purpose. What was that you were talking about? You said something about your ally? Oh, it's nothing. I'm just worried about the soldiers inside. Well, whatever the case, the situation concerns me too. Let's go inside. An anime cutscene plays showing Homo Gorlo attacking the soldiers. Damn, this is terrible. Almost all of them were wiped out. Whispering, Gallica says, "Grius, I hope you're okay." "Don't waste your time fooling around. If we look around, we might find one that's still breathing." From this point, the battle portions of the demo begins as the traveling boy and Straw work together. After battling several waves of enemies, they come across some soldiers who are barely alive. Most of them recognize the traveling boy as an Elda and condemn him, saying that, as an Elda, it's his fault the humans are attacking. However, Straw stands up for the traveling boy and says it's obviously not his fault. One soldier, so stricken with fear, ultimately begs the traveling boy to rescue him before eventually dying. Just before they reach Homo Gorlo, Stroll says, "The rooftop is just up ahead. Might I have a moment?" If I'm honest, I have my doubts there could be survivors. Facing that monster together may not even save anyone at this point. But I'm gonna do it anyway. It's the noble thing to do. You're gonna go that far simply because you're a noble? You don't even know if you'll make it back alive. I just want to protect everyone. I'm not gonna be a nobleman who can do nothing but run away this time. This time? You still want to come with me? I'm sure you're looking for someone. You can't die until you see them, can you? The choices are, I can't run away now, or I don't care if I die over there. He chooses the latter. In this situation, you're more worried about the other person than yourself? That's impressive. The boy thinks, if I run away and the messenger doesn't reach me, I'm sure the prince won't be saved. I have no choice but to fight. In that case, please lend me your strength. Stroll and the traveling boy take on Homo Gorlo, but it is much too powerful. Stroll is nearly killed and begs the boy to run. And in that moment, the traveling boy hears an angelic female voice. It says, "O fate-saddled child, O anguished traveler, thy fate is crown twined, thy soul bound for the throne. The future yet unknown dawns in this moment. Thy path may fork, but only one may be chosen. Confront the threat before thee, or die here in obscurity. Now choose. He whispers, I choose. So be it. Heroism lies in the soul that stands firm against its fears. Power awaits thy command. The time has come to awaken the hero within, engrave thy very heart. And in that moment, he rips out his heart and transforms into the Seeker. The scenario portion of the demo ends here. That's it for this video. I'm certain there's much more that I didn't comment on. Again, check the links in the description for the uncut media. If you like my videos, be sure to share them, and thanks for watching.